today. Still hit the gym at 5.
I was going to say, mate, that's bloody keen.
I love it. I love it early. There's no one there.
Yeah.
Although all the BBA crew were there.
What, doing a circuit?
I bumped into, who was there? Kells, Renee and Natalia did a boxing session. Abs Gilbert was there doing a PT session. Geordie walked in just as I was leaving to do a boot camp. And I met Nick Friend this morning too. I had my BBA top on and he came over and introduced himself. It was really good.
Speak of the devil, he's just joined us here.
Has he? He said he was going to try and join.
Yeah. Nico's already down a touch over 10 kilos. So
nice.
Yeah, so bloody good.
Well done, champ.
Good morning, everyone. How are you guys? Make sure that you do let Michelle and I know that you're coming in live to this one. We've got 14 people watching so far, so just make sure that you let us know in the comments that you're here. I just want you to say hi and what's going on. Hey, Tez, how are you, my man? Geez, you're a favourite with the boys, Michelle. Nicky boy, what's going on, mate? Hey, Nico, how are you, mate? Good morning, Brookie. Oh, Brookie's on a bit of a consistency run this week. I like it. Danny Troutman's here. How are you, dude? Hey, Renee. Good morning, love. I hope you're in a good zone right now. We've got Bobby Gordon's here, the king. We've got Kells here. Morning, Mishi. We got Mikey Boy. Coach Mike, how are you, legend? And we've got Facebook user. So whoever that is, what you need to do is get up to the top there and authorize restream so we can display your beautiful name. So what's going on, dude? You've got you take flexi days on Thursday, Friday. Yep. Is that repeating?
No, not every Thursday, Friday. I haven't had one for a bit, but had a bit of time owing to me, so it took 2 days. It's great.
Nice. Can you like puff your chest up a little bit so I can see your? Yeah, that's sick. Is that one of the new unisex ones?
Sorry.
Is that one of the new unisex ones?
Yeah. It's really good. It's a nice lightweight. It's warm enough. Not too hot. I love it.
I love it. Good stuff. Hello, Jakey. How are you, mate? Good to see you in here. All right, guys. I think we are ready to rock and roll. Let's get this episode started. Do you want to count it in for something different, Michelle?
I'm ready to go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
This is the Better Body Academy podcast, the podcast that you come to when you're sick of the dumb diets, unsustainable workout programs, and we have sexed up this episode with the return of the one and only Michelle Follett. Good morning, Michelle. How's it going?
Good morning. I'm good. Thanks, mate. How are you?
I'm really, really good, actually. So look at this girl dressed to the nines in the BBA gear. It's such a wonderful thing to have you representing our brand, Michelle. And Michelle's back for her second dig at the podcast. The reason that I asked Michelle to come back in was because of a little kind of post that happened on the group yesterday. Michelle's had a big win, but during having this win, she documented something yesterday, which was a 12-month transformation for her. Not so much the kind of physical element of it, which has been great, but the mental component of this. And I thought this is a perfect episode as we wind up to episode 100, where we can just kind of frame up, look at this. This is what happens if you stop playing the short game and start playing the long game. So what I'm going to do is this is going to be a little bit different. I don't suspect this podcast will be too long. I want to read out 2 messages for you guys. And the 2 messages are going to be the Michelle that posted this message yesterday and the Michelle that did her original introduction post about 12 months ago in our academy. And I want you to see the difference in the woman. Just before we do that, Michelle, like when you were writing that yesterday, did you have like this kind of moment where you were reflecting and going, this is cool?
I was really pumped after doing the presentation yesterday, and I did a post in our little mastermind group, and Mike reached out to me with a screenshot of messages that we had when I'd first started. I think it was end of April. And he just wrote, "Who's this?" And it was like reading a post from somebody else, honestly. And I went, okay, I need to go back and look at where I actually started from, because I think it's such a slow process.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just blown away by it. It honestly was like reading from two different people.
Yeah, great job there, Mike, on Coach Mike on doing that. So I think I don't know what it is about Michelle. I suggest it's probably the fact that locally she's fairly well known about the traps, and she's such a beautiful girl. You guys seem to really resonate with her style, particularly in the women's group, and so I thought this is a perfect way to frame up this episode. So I'm going to read you, for context, the post that Michelle made yesterday. All right, I just want to share a massive win for me that would never been possible without BBA and the Mastermind program. This morning, I had to do a presentation to more than 60 people, and I nailed it. I had amazing feedback from my peers and my leaders, and it felt so good. I went in confident and believing that I was going to do an amazing job. It made me think back to when I first joined BBA 12 months ago. I was filled with such self-loathing and such low self-belief, and could never have believed in such a short time this would be something I could do without vomiting. I would have stumbled over my words and looked like a nervous wreck. I had colleagues reached out after it and say how self-assured and confident I was. I shared my introduction post to show you guys how far I come. Ladies, believe in the process. Life is too short to worry about how others perceive you. Do the work, trust the process, and follow your coach's advice, and I can promise you that you will be in love with yourself. You've invested money into this program, invest in yourself and go all in. It's so much more than just weight loss. Okay, so what a fantastic post. And my gosh, you're really good at writing as well. Tell us about what actually was what's happened. Have you had a job promotion, or what is it, and why were you doing a presentation?
So I've recently stepped into a new role, which I was on secondment. I was given a 6-month secondment for as a training specialist. So training new recruits and upskilling people who are coming into the business.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of weeks ago, I was given the opportunity to interview to get a permanent role in that as well, which I did and was successful in the interview. And I think that certainly helped my confidence as well. And my training lead reached out and she said, we need someone to do the monthly presentation to the wider team. Will you do it? And it was actually, usually I would go, let me sit on that, let me think about it. And I would beat myself up. And I just went, yes, on the spot. Just went, yep, I'll do it. Not to say I wasn't nervous about it, but I committed to doing it.
Well, on that note, I think that people see nerves as a signal that they're not ready. It's just not the case. If you are nervous about anything in your life, nerves are a signal that actually the outcome means something to you.
Yeah.
I always say to people, let's go back to our kind of footy, netball, basketball, cricket, soccer days when we played, before a big game, you got nervous. And the reason is because the outcome of winning meant something to you. So I actually think that if you're not nervous, it's a little bit bigger of a problem. And you nailed it, right? So the presentation felt good. You felt confident.
Yep. I actually, just before I went in there, and I actually said to myself, breathe, you've got this. And it was like this switch just flicked. It was just amazing.
Dude, that's the best. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read out the introduction post that all new Better Body Academies that our members make. Just, hey girls, I'm Michelle. And this is what Michelle wrote. Team, I'm not sure where to start or what my why is. I'm 46. I've slipped into a bubble at home, COVID last year. I've been overwhelmed with anxiety, eating shitty food, not training. I don't like what I see in the mirror. I have such self-loathing. I am here because I need to be kind to myself, to give myself the confidence to believe in what I can do. I saw some photos of Jace that had posted about some local people, thinking that I could stalk quietly. I sent him a message, and then by 2 a.m., I'd poured my heart out to this stranger. Everything he said resonated me. I sat listening to his message, nodding along with tears on my face. Somebody finally got me and believed that I could be better, etc., etc. And so this kind of positioning Michelle 12 months here and 12 months there is just, it's mind-blowing growth in such a short period of time. But I think inherently a lot of people look at 12 months, Michelle, and they go, 12 months?
So far.
Like,
Yeah.
that's so far. That's so long. Like, and this is part of the problem. We're conditioned to think in such short term, kind of week to week to week to week. And so what I'm going to do now, guys, is I'm going to ask Michelle 10 questions relating to her transformation. And she's just going to quick fire off on these questions and give us her opinion or do what she thinks around these questions. Okay, so if you've got any questions you want me to ask Michelle live, feel free to pop them in the comments. I'm happy to ask them as well. So from when you first started seeing me posting content and transformations, how long did you actually kind of procrastinate for in terms of from then to when you got started?
It probably would have been a couple of months, I think, initially, from when I started first following the page, because I had this mindset, because I've done all these challenges in the past. I was just like, nah, another one, commit to 12 weeks, put it all back on again. So I don't even know what I don't even know why I was following it, because I had no intention of doing it, to be honest. None.
Wow. And so if you're watching or listening to this, I can tell you that the vast majority of people, they sort of procrastinate and watch along for somewhere between 3 and 6 months before they do anything. And the whole reason is we feel that we need to be mentally prepared in order to start something new. But the truth is, you're never ever going to be prepared for your next level. The reason you're not at whatever your next level is because you're not that person yet. And that's not a criticism. Yep. I am in exactly the same gap. The reason I'm not, the king of fitness in terms of the world is because I'm not that person yet. And so we're all on this growth journey. And the key is to be able to rip the scab off. Question 2. Can you remember what the straw is that kind of broke the camel's back? Why did you jump in after 3 to 6 months?
Okay, so there was 2 reasons. First one, I'd seen a photo that a friend had shared after a wedding, and I hadn't realised, like I knew I'd put on weight, but it wasn't until I'd seen that photo that I just went, fuck, you need to do something. And so that, and it wasn't, I looked at this photo, it was the one that I shared on my intro post. It should have just been a happy, beautiful memory with friends. And it just wasn't. I just felt sick about how I felt about everything. And I'd seen you share a post of Matty Overton, and I'd actually bumped into him down the street, and he was just bouncing with confidence, and he looked amazing. And I just went, that was my light bulb moment that I thought, it's not just about the weight. I need to be feeling good about myself as well. That's the big thing that was missing.
Dude, I love that. Okay, so question 3. You wouldn't refer to yourself as like, I'm rich or I'm like financially wealthy. And so what I think is interesting is some of us kind of have a different perspective on how expensive something is. And look, it's not for me or any other coach to tell you what's expensive or what's a good price. But you didn't even price didn't even seem to enter the situation. Was that because you were at a point of desperation? Like what was...
Absolutely. I just decided I would make it work in the budget. I didn't know how. I hadn't even decided how it was going to work in the budget. We were on a pretty tight budget, but I just knew it was something I needed to invest in. I had all the meal plans and programs that I could follow, but I needed that accountability and that something extra that I knew I wasn't going to get. I wasn't going to get it on my own.
You know, on that feeling, I was exactly the same with me becoming a coach. I tried to understand how to do this for 6 years and was just treading water, getting nowhere, and holding my money tightly and thinking, no, I'm not going to pay for this. I can figure it out on my own. And all of a sudden, one day I realized 6 years had passed and I'm in the same spot, dealing with the same shit.
That's exactly right.
I had a great conversation with a guy the other day talking about the multiple currencies that exist. And as you become more self-aware that time, emotional balance, happiness are other currencies that most of us just don't value, all of a sudden it changes the way you value your dollars. Next question. Did you have any fears before you kind of started, or beliefs that you're kind of holding on to?
Yeah, absolutely. I still went into it thinking, okay, I'll do it for 16 weeks, honestly. And I just thought, I had no expectations, to be honest. And I had no self-belief. I just thought, I'll get this done, and whatever will be, will be. And it's, I can't even put into words how much things have changed during that time.
So, how many people do you think start challenges or start with the PT or start with what a thing? And actually, the reason that they fail is that they were doomed at the start because they just didn't believe that they could ever change.
Yep, 100%. Pretty much every person I know, I look at the ones who are inside the academy, and the ones who are getting the results are the ones who are going all in. They're sharing their vulnerabilities, they're sharing their wins. And I think if people go in just going, I'm just going to follow the meal plan and the training sessions, and I expect these amazing results, you're not going to get it. You're not changing who you are and what you believe in at a core level.
Dude, I love that so much.
The whole picture.
When you reflect on these on these types of kind of messages that you've just popped up, can you still imagine yourself or feel yourself from 12 months ago? And when you kind of contemplate the change, like how do you contemplate that? How do you kind of feel about that?
Honestly, when I wrote that initial post, 12 months seems like a long time away, and I don't think I was even looking at that big end game. I think the big thing for me was in that mastermind group where we had to write the letter to self, and I actually read that back again this morning.
Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know, in the mastermind, Jace got us to do this process where we wrote a letter to our future self in 12 months' time. And I can remember sitting there writing it going, this is shit. This is so stupid. And I really struggled with it. And it was a deep letter. I won't go into it here. There's a lot of personal stuff in there, but I cried writing it because it was written like these things were happening in 12 months' time. And I was just like, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But ticking off that list this morning, there's a hell of a lot on there that I've definitely achieved.
Yeah, and most of us kind of, we get in the habit of just getting up in the morning and pressing play and not really choosing to do anything. We just do them because why? We've always done them, and that's what we do. And we don't consciously think that, you know what, like, I'm not going to get to a destination I want to get to unless I choose what the destination is. And so the idea about the future pacing or the letter to self is to go, where do I want to be in 12 months' time? And let's plug some anchors in the future and start acting as if I'm already there. Right? Mate, you say you love the academy, but what is it that you actually love? Like, where's the love?
The love is just all that whole, the community and mindset is the missing link in all of it. The girls in that academy, and even some of the guys who I've met we've had our meetup and stuff, are just, they're so supportive. They've got your back. They're there for the shit times. They're there for the wins. And I think having them there, it makes you feel like you've got to put in that little bit more to support them back as well. They've given you so much, so you just want to go, you want to pour your heart out to them, and you want to let them know, hey, I had a shit week this week too, so that we're not like the rest of us are seeing on social media that everyone's kicking goals every day. That there is someone in the same position as you, and you just got to keep treading through it.
That's a really good way. Side. Yeah, that's a really good way to put it. So when you're looking through social media and what you see is just the bright, shiny side of whatever someone wants to post. But when you're in a community and you go deep with someone, get to know people, you can understand that those, if anything, you probably see the more difficult sides. So yeah, dude, I love that. What is it that's actually changed in you to allow you to like step into your confidence? Like when you think about public speaking, like that's a scary thing for many people, probably one of the biggest fears. What has allowed you to step into that?
I think just believing that I can do it. That's it.
That simple.
Yeah, that's it. I can do it. I can nail it. it's just having that belief that rather than, I think I would have always gone into it and gone, I would have absolutely gone in and gone, I can't do that. There's no way in the world I can do that. And changing that mindset around it of, I can do that. It's no problems. I can do that. That self-belief is the only thing that's got me there. I wouldn't have done it otherwise.
For you guys that are watching or listening later on, did you hear that? So Michelle had a repeating pattern of which she said, I can't do that, I can't do that, I can't do that. And for you, it doesn't matter what it is, you're doing the same thing. You're saying, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this. Well, that's like being at the bottom of Mount Everest and saying, I can't climb it, I can't climb it, I can't climb it. Of course you can't climb it because you haven't tried yet. And so what happens is you build belief by putting yourself into, a little bit uncomfortable situation, sure, but most importantly, and the first step is you've got to change the story. It's actually a very simple change. You go from saying, I can't do this to, I can do it, or how can I do it? I think that's a really good question. How can I do this?
Yeah.
What is it that you think stops most people from getting started in the first place?
I think people just think I can do it on my own. I know what I've got to do. I know that I need to eat less. I know that I need to move more. But they don't do it. They don't have those people supporting them to go, yeah, you can fucking do it. And they're stuck. It's where I was. It honestly was exactly where I was. And I was at that point where I think I was just like, well, I'm 46, I'm 47 now. I'm 46, so I'll just stay here and wither away quietly.
Oh, that's like my worst nightmare. And so you're saying that you think that most people don't get started because they think to themselves, surely I can do this on my own. This is obviously quite simple, but I just can't get myself to do the things that I need to do, right?
Yep.
And this is where accountability is such an important thing, is if you don't have any accountability, if you're just accountability to your partner or you say it's to your kids, that's not going to be enough to ever keep you on the hook because
you've got to be accountable to yourself.
You got it, girl. Last two questions. What would you like to see more of the ladies inside our women's group? What would you like to see more? Like a lot of these ladies do sort of, whether it's look up to you, but certainly admire the way that you go about your business. What would you like to see more? Because I think they may listen.
I want to see them putting themselves out there. I see so many people join, they'll do an initial post and some don't even do it. I see names pop up in there. I'm like, I don't even know who you are. And you're not going all in. You're there to get the diet program and the workout program. You're not doing the full work to commit to yourself to believe that you can do it. You need to be sharing everything, wins, losses, shit stories, the reason why you got stuck here, and start watching that journey back of your posts and the transformation from this scared, meek, little, weak person into someone who's confident to get on a podcast. It's amazing. You need to go all in on yourself. Post everywhere, post every day.
So what's the barrier to that? Is it the knowledge that not understanding why that's important, or is it I personally think it's the fear of judgment.
Judgment, absolutely. And that was one of my biggest fears, and probably what held me back in believing myself. I was so worried about what other people thought of me. No one gives a shit.
And at a certain point, you spend all your life, and this isn't just in a transformation program, but most of us spend all our life worrying about judgment. What the ironic part about this is that everyone is worried about judgment. And so when actually you go to a party or a barbecue, and actually we all think it's a bunch of people judging each other, but actually it's quite the opposite. It's a bunch of people that are in a room or in a backyard staying inside themselves because they're worried about getting judged. Like crazy. Last question, because my baby's deciding to kick right off. What gives you confidence that this isn't just a shiny spot for you? In other words, like, what gives you confidence that this isn't just a high point, and when you hit a low point, then you are not going to derail?
I think because I no longer have this mindset that I've failed and I'm a failure. It hasn't led to that. I failed at something. I learn from that and I move on from it. I don't get stuck there buried in this hole going, that was shit, I'm shit. And I can remember Coach Mike saying when I first came in, he goes, keep telling yourself you're shit, you're shit. And it was so, I went, oh, that's a bit harsh. And then I thought about it more, and it's absolutely, you keep telling yourself that shitty story. You are going to fail, you are going to fall off, and you're not going to get back on. So you need to change your whole mindset around it all.
How do you, when you notice yourself becoming stuck, inverted commas, what do you do personally? Like, what's the first thing when you're just like, I'm having a shit week, and I'm like, what do you do physically?
I go to the gym. Physically, I go to the gym. I have actually started writing a gratitude journal as well. So I can look back on that if I'm having a shit day or something really shitty has happened, look back on that and go, that was one shitty thing in a pretty awesome day.
Yeah. So putting it in context, changing the story, it's almost like if you feel like the momentum of your day or week is crap, like, okay,
it's going to follow.
It's probably crap. That's okay. Yeah. And so what we need to do is go, right, so this crap stops now. And so what I'm going to do now is do something for myself or do something to turn the momentum. And that starts with stop telling yourself this is shit. You know, and I might finish off on this point. One of the things that I think is just such a crazy thing to think about is we pass the homeless guy on the street that's, he's kind of vocalizing all of the things that are happening in his head, and he's ranting on. And, as unaware kind of thinkers, we probably look at that and go, oh, that's crazy. Like he's talking and like, whoa, like why do you need to talk out loud? The only difference between him and us is that he's doing it out loud.
Yeah.
The rest of us are doing it all inside our heads. So we're like the fucking homeless dude on the street that's just like the crazy guy.
Going through
it's the same loop.
Same story, same shit.
What am I doing here? Like, how did I get here? What went wrong in my life to make me on here? It's just, how am I ever going to get out of this? How am I going to change? No one likes me. Everyone judges me. Like, it's the same thing as the homeless guy on the street. And so unless you get really good at interrupting that story and changing it into, like, what can I do? Like, what one thing can I do in this moment now to bring about the change? Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. The awareness of it is what stops. That's your turning point. Picking yourself up when you can feel yourself slipping down there. And I can see some of the girls now doing that in the group. Yeah. They're now catching themselves when they're having a shit day, eating shit, haven't trained, whatever it might be, feeling sick.
Yeah.
But I think that awareness of catching themselves in that moment before it slips down further is huge. It's massive growth.
Yeah, no, I agree totally. Well, guys, I think we're going to wrap there. That's the 10 questions that I wanted to cover with Michelle. Michelle, thank you for joining us as we come on the run into our 100th episode. I'm pretty kind of pumped about maybe getting all the coaches together on one podcast for episode 100. Hey, guys, if you're watching this and, you're thinking to yourself, yeah, but she's different. Like, stop putting people on pedestals. Michelle is no different. She's an average girl that has come from just normal family in a small town. And what she did was she decided that, you know what, like I want to feel more and I want to experience more. And so if you're at the point, and this goes to people that are already inside the academy and have committed financially but have not committed emotionally to the process. You just have to decide, I'm going to do something about this. And it starts now. And whilst change can take time, the decision to change can be made in an instant. You can decide that I'm no longer going to tolerate mediocrity in my life. That doesn't mean that you're not going to get mediocrity for a bit. It means you're going to cop a lot of shit as you start to realize how much shit you're walking through every day. But as you decide to put a line in the sand, that's the point of which you stand up for yourself. And this girl is a complete inspiration. So, Michelle, thanks again for joining us for part 2 of the Michelle Follett podcast.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Guys, this has been the Better Body Academy podcast coming to you early on a Thursday morning. We appreciate you guys, and we'll see you in the next episode.